If you're using SwiftData, trust me, it can be hard to track and debug what's actually going on behind the scenes in your database. And I know what hard looks like after beating 2 hot wing challenges back to back. Well, in this video, we're actually going to look at how we can use a tool called CoreDataLab to help us manage our data in our database, track changes, and also debug in this to-do list app, which is a free course on my YouTube channel. So if you're interested, come join me and let's get this money. Now, you might be thinking, all right, Tons, what is CoreDataLab? Well, essentially what it is a tool that allows you to basically inspect, track changes, and just like manage your database as well. It's a really useful tool. Now, I'm not saying this is the only tool for inspecting databases, but for me, this is my favorite one. I've not had any problems with this, and it's actually sped up when I've been making this free course as well. Now, what you can do if you want to get this tool is I've actually got a download link in the description box down below, so you can actually easily download this from the Mac App Store. Now, when you download this tool and install it onto your machine from the App Store and open it up, you'll get presented with this that you can see on the screen here. And you have a couple of options here, but my favorite option is the one where it actually browses all the simulators you've run, and you just simply just choose your app and it'll basically get the database for you. Honestly, it's so nice. Like Beta Magic, yo, them dudes weren't playing around, man. So I really like how they made, inspecting your database really simple and really clean. Now, this doesn't just only work for CoreData, even though the name implies that. It actually works for both CoreData and SwiftData, so you get the best of both worlds, like Hannah Montana. Right, but what we're gonna do, enough about the Disney jokes, man. What we're gonna do, right, is we're now going to basically inspect our database within the to-do list app course that I've been, building out here on YouTube. So what I'm actually going to do is actually run our project from fresh and just show you how to use this tool to basically just see what's going on in the database. So if I just go to my project now, if I just hit run, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this on a device where, it's brand new and fresh and I've not done it before. So we'll choose this iPhone SE. And what should happen is it actually should pre-fill our app with the data from this video that I went over on how to, pre-fill data within your SwiftData apps, which you can actually check out, within this course. All right, cool. And as you can see here, right, basically we've now got our items in our list and they've been pre-filled. So how can we actually inspect this? Well, all I need to do now is just simply choose Browse iOS Simulators. And what you'll get when you choose that option is you'll basically get this screen here where you can easily select the simulators that you want. Now, I've run this previously before, which is why you see this, but the one we want is our iPhone SE. And we can see our app here, To Do app, and it even tells us it's SwiftData. So this is really nice. And we can just choose select. And then now we can actually see our database. So you can see all the data here. Now, I might say no entity selected, but if I actually choose on the entities here, you can see that I can see all of the information here. And one of the nice things is even when you get to choosing items, I can now see the content in each one. So I can see what's going on in each one of these properties here. And there was actually a video I did in this course where I showed you how to save images within SwiftData, and we can easily inspect this now. So if I was to go onto this item, which has this binary data here, if I was to choose image, I can actually see the image. It's me drinking sangria. But I can now see the image of, what is in our database here. Just zooming in on me, just, drinking sangria there, man. But a really nice thing about this tool as well is that I can actually see where these files are as well, because when you're working with images in SwiftData, you actually don't want to save the image directly within, the database, because then it'll get massive. Now, a nice way to see what's going on behind the scenes with how external files are managed, so we go to project and then show database in Finder. Now, when you go here, you won't see anything. And the reason why is because where this file is stored is actually in a hidden folder. Now, to enable this, on your keyboard, if you hit Command Shift and then dot, you'll now see that you'll see these dot folders. And if I go into default support and then external data, this file here is actually this image that you're looking at. So you can actually inspect to make sure that your app is saving your data correctly externally, so you don't get a massive, database size. Now, something that we also had in our app as well is, relationships, which again is in this course. And you'll see that we actually have this entity here called categories. So if I select here, I can see all the categories that I've created. So think of these as like the groups. Now, if I go back to item, you'll see that there actually is some items which do have a relationship. Now, if I just click on one, So this one here, go visit family, if we just choose on go visit family, we can see on the left hand side here, we can actually view the relationships for items as well, which is really nice. Now you might be wondering, oh, you know, what does the little play button do here? Well, what this does is it allows us to track changes in our app. So just like you run Xcode and you can, like, you know, make changes to your app and, you know, debug it, this tool lets you do that as well, which is one of the standout features I feel compared to other tools. So if I actually hit, you know, the play button here, you'll see that it says tracking. Now, what this means is that I can actually inspect and track changes to my actual, you know, SwiftData database. So let's see an example of this. So let's say for go and get wedding suit, I untick this here. You'll now see that on the is completed, it was 1, but now it's changed to 0. So it's actually showing me the changes in real time with my model. So let's actually change this here. And rather than saying go and get wedding suit, we'll just change this to get wedding suit. And as I'm typing, you'll see that all these changes are happening. So I can actually track everything that's going on. And once we hit update, it now commits that change to our database, which is really nice. But what about if I wanted to add a item? So you can see here, updating items marks them as purple. So we'll say new to do, and then we'll call this new item, make a YouTube vid. And we'll just put that in routine. And now if I choose create, you'll see that we actually have this new, you know, item in our database here saved as well. And if I click on it, I can actually see the relationship as well for routine category. So they're actually highlighted in green when you make new additions. But what about if I wanted to remove, you know, one? Well, I'm getting a bit lazy, man. I don't want to make this YouTube video anymore. So let's say I delete this. You can see that rather than it being green, it's now changed to red, and it's actually showing me that it's been removed. So I can see here that this is really powerful, right? Like I can track what's going on, what I've removed, what I've edited, what I've added in this really nice tool, man. And you can even see here at the top that we actually get some nice, you know, like overviews of what's going on in terms of those changes as well, which is really nice. Now later on in this video, I'm actually going to show you some ways to actually speed up your development when working with SwiftData using this tool with some little tips and tricks. So make sure that you stick around for that. But if you're enjoying this video so far, why not check out the entire series where I actually show you how to build this to-do list app, and we're going to keep on growing because I've got more videos. And if you're actually enjoying this video, I really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to the channel and leave a comment as well. Let me know what other iOS development tools you're interested in me, you know, showing off. So far I've been showing you how to track changes in your database, but what about if we want to do a bit different? We wanted to actually add data directly within here. Well, guess what? You can do that. Now, in order to do that, you're going to need to enable a setting. So if we go to our project settings, and if we scroll down, if you want to actually be able to actually add data directly using this tool, you need to enable this option here for persistent history tracking. We'll turn this on, and we'll actually have to stop, you know, tracking our data because we want to make a change to the actual model. And what I'm just going to do is just enable the trump merge policy. So basically, if there's a duplicate, it should override it, and we'll hit done. So what I can actually do now is I can actually add data directly into this without even using the app. So I could essentially pre-fill my database, you know, without writing any code. So if we go to data, what we'll need to do now is we'll need to hit this here called new object. Now, if you wanted to, you could also import this from JSON or CVC, but I'm not doing that in this video. We're just going to, you know, add a new object. And you can see here, I get this window where I can create a brand new object and pre-fill it and whatnot. So the due date, we'll set that to now, but you can choose any date in the future. We'll set the image to nil because we don't want to set an image. We'll also just choose is completed and is critical, or we'll actually, you know, just choose only is critical, leave the rest of them to be false. And then we'll give this a title. So we'll say here to make dinner, for example, and we'll hit save. Now, this will be in our database and save. Now, you might be wondering, is it going to automatically update on the simulator? It won't do that because of the way this tool is built. It's not, you know, the simulator is not listening to changes to this tool. And just to double check as well, if you're not able to select this new object, go back to project settings and just make sure that this is actually enabled if you can't turn it on. So what we're going to do to actually see this in action is actually rerun our app to actually see the option in the list here. So I'm just going to rerun it. And you should see now, we see our item here, make data. So we're able to actually pre-fill our database, before we even write any code, and actually see this within our, it should reflect in our app. So just like we can add data, we can also edit data as well. So if I was to actually click on this item here and open up this window here, when we select the row, you'll see that I'm actually able to make changes to the actual items as well within this side panel. So I could actually change this from make dinner to, make dessert. And we'll get this option here to save our changes. Cool. And you'll see that it's now committed our changes. So alternatively as well, you could actually double click on it to update it as well. But, you get the side panel if you want to. Now, again, you're not going to see the changes like I said before. So to see those changes, we'll need to rerun our app. And you'll now see that it says make dessert, so it's now being updated. Now, one of the nice things as well is that we can actually test out our predicates before writing the code. So what I mean by that is we can actually test out filters within this tool. So if I was to go with the little filter option here, you'll see that we can actually, create a condition, and essentially if we get our condition working, we can just easily translate that to code. So what I'm going to do is we're going to basically write a predicate where the priority is, critical. So we'll say is critical is 1, and we'll hit save. And now you can see on the left-hand side on this side panel, we actually have a predicate. So if I wanted to just quickly just debug, and see what data we wanted to fetch and whatnot, I don't even need to, inspect it and whatnot and start like doing, calculations with my hands. I can just go to the save predicate and just see the data filtered here. I can actually edit this predicate as well. So it's really nice that you can actually save predicates and have a bunch of them here and literally just, have your own little debug, filters and whatnot for your data. Now, away from this tool, there's actually another way as well for you to actually debug what's going on behind the scenes. And this is something that I would highly recommend you always turn on so you can actually see in your console logs what's going on in your app. And that's using the launch argument. Now, there's some launch arguments that you'll see on the screen now that you can actually enable. And one of them is and the SQL debug is to basically help you see what, queries are actually being run behind the scenes. And the concurrency debug actually helps you with any kind of threading issues. So what I'm just going to do with this video is we're going to enable the SQL debug, and I'll just show you in the console what you can see and how it can help you. So let's go back to our Xcode project. And to add this in, you're going to go to your option here and then go to edit scheme. And then you'll see an option on the run configuration called arguments. And you'll then see this called arguments passed on launch. Now you want to hit plus and actually copy and paste this in. So now because it's ticked, that means that every time you run your app, it'll actually put into the console log debug statements of, what's going on behind the scenes, right? So now when I close that, if I was to run this, you'll see that we now get all of this stuff. So we now get all of this data logs in our app. So if you want to ever see what's going on behind the scenes and actually, make sure everything is fine, or if you want to just grab an error from here. So I'll show you all these tools, right? And tools like this CoreDataLab is really useful, really helpful to use, right? And if you actually go onto their website, they actually have an FAQ with more tips and tricks, because I wish I could cover everything in this video, but there's so many useful things you can do with it. So I recommend you go and check out their website, and actually, again, like I said before, use the link in the description box to basically download this tool and make your life a hell of a lot easier. And if you actually want to learn more about SwiftData, like I said before, this is actually part of the SwiftData course. So feel free to check this out on my channel. And if you actually go to my YouTube page, I have a whole bunch of other playlists that cover a bunch of Swift UI and just iOS, related content that, can get you started on your journey, or you can learn something new. So that's everything from me. I'll catch you on a bit. Deuces.